Julian Mack from the Toledo and the Safe Water, followed by Cafe Culturale.
First off, I'd like to say how thankful I am to be able to be here as a citizen of the world, a citizen of the United States, Ohio, and the great city of Toledo. It is so appropriate that we are here on Earth Day, what I grew up calling Earth Day, but as I understand to be Mother Earth Day today, because that is, in fact, where all of our life comes from, and how important it is for us to be able to sustain life. And this is, I believe, a quest that we all need to be in together. And as I bring up the fact that we're all in this together, I would be remiss as we went through a water crisis in Toledo, to not mention my neighbors to the north in Flint, Michigan, who have now gone 1,462 days without clean water. It was just 1 year ago today where I was in Flint, Michigan, giving out water to residents. And that is something I believe that is very important. That spirit of looking out for our neighbor, of looking out for each other, that we continue to remember as we go back to our respective places throughout the earth. One thing I wanted to bring up here is that I'm very proud of my community and the history that we made with rights of nature. But I also come from a country that does some things that I'm not so proud of. Where 97% of scientists believe in climate change. Unfortunately, only 6 out of 10 Americans believe that humans have an impact on climate change. We need to change this type of the educational structure, and I believe the corporate influence on that educational structure is seen oftentimes in our elections, and it was great. It was definitely seen in our fight to make the Lake Erie Bill of Rights become law. The opposition in the Lake Erie Bill of Rights threw out many flat out lies and things that were not true about us. We're a scrappy group of activists, and we are willing to do what it takes to protect our Mother Earth. We raised about $6,000, all locally between us. It was recently found out and discovered that the opposition spent $300,000, and those funds came from BP, who ironically accused us of being out-of-town activists. As I said before, which was a flat-out lie and use of misinformation. So we now find ourselves in a legal fight to make sure that what 61% of Toledoans voted and agreed to become law of the city of Toledo remains law. We have an uphill battle because we understand the influence that corporations have had on our educational system and have had on our culture in general, as well as our political system and our judicial system. We talk about harmony with nature. In my personal experience, I've seen the greed of corporate interests interrupt the harmony of nature that many of my friends and fellows want to have. So my question to the panel is this. I come from a community that has made their decision very clear that Lake Erie deserves rights. Lake Erie is a living thing and should be treated as such. how can we continue to overcome the obstacles in front of us when there is so much corporate interest and corporate influence on our educational system, on our judicial system, and on our culture as we try to move forward in the pressing issue that is caring for and protecting our Mother Earth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. I'll now give the floor to Mr.
I think you have to keep on, but also you have to follow the path of other American citizens, and especially the youth. No one spoke today about the Julian Mack case versus US government, for example, or the fact that New York City or San Francisco decided about ruling cases against big petroleum corporates. This is examples that inspired us, for example, in France. Since 1 year, it happened very fast. In 2015, I co-founded an NGO which called Our Affaire to All, Notre Affaire à tous. And we supported citizens who decided to sue the European Union because their own economic activities or health were impacted by climate change. And we supported around 15 cities who decided to sue multinationals and petroleum corporates. Now there is also, and maybe you have heard about it because we decided to start a lawsuit against our own government because we realized that since the 60s, none of our government committed to its climate obligation, and they didn't do it also since 2015 and the COP21. And it gives me the opportunity to show that when you embark the youth, it becomes huge, but it's not easy. Because the young people, they don't have any more faith in the political system. They don't go to vote, and they don't read most of the newspaper where you have all the scientific facts that are exposed. So what we did in France when we decided to make this lawsuit against the government about climate inaction, we launched a campaign with YouTubers, the most famous YouTubers in France. They all joined together. We contacted 60 of them. And they made a video which was seen by 14 millionth time. 14 millionth time. And we launched a petition because we cannot do class actions in France. It's not allowed for climate like you can do in the US. So we are obliged to do it as NGOs. We are doing this with 3 other NGOs, Oxfam France and Greenpeace France, and French NGO, FNH. And our petition was signed by 1 million people in 3 days, by 2 million in a month, which made this petition the most signed in the history of France. And I'm quite sure, we are making the study now, that the youth signed the petition because they found that a solution to act. And of course we had, like in the street at the climate march, 350,000 people who marched too, but the youth decided also that it's not enough to complain. They have to act. And in Colombia, you can see that the Justicia, there were young people. And in France, they decided to support our lawsuit as the youth, saying, okay, now we request the corporates, we request the government to commit to their obligations. And what happened in the Netherlands where the climate lawsuit was won, is that the judge explained and they had to follow the judgment. The government changed their, decreased their emission of green gas, green gas. So you really have to, for me, you really have to keep on, but also to look after wider support, maybe join some class actions that are really ongoing, and try to mobilize the youth, because when the youth start to move, start to complain, the governments, they are freaking out.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. I now give the floor to